Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's in Your Conversations. I am your host and your favorite life balance and confidence coach, Consuela Nicole. We are truly in for an amazing time today. As you know, what's in your cup conversations is not necessarily what you are sipping on. We may talk about that too, depending on who we're talking to, but we are truly talking about what's in your personal cup, mentally, physically, emotionally, the whole kit and caboodle. We normally fill our cups up with all these different things. And in the beginning, it's normally filled with stuff that other people have poured into it, right? So we're talking about what have you dumped out of your cup? What did you have to dump out of your cup? Our last guest said she had to throw away her entire cup and start over, right? But I want to jump in with my next guest because this is a hot, hot topic, right? So first and foremost, my guest today, we are going to be talking to none other than the fashion man himself, fashionable Eddie, known to many as Coach, known to others as King. The world know him as Edward Tapia. I will tell you this. I am going to tell you a little bit of his story, but I need him on to tell this story. But I will tell you, Edward was definitely born with a cup full of no's, will nots, and cannots. So you're going to have to stay tuned to find out what that was. But however, I will tell you his unwavering belief in a higher purpose prevented him from succumbing to despair. Edward also has since come to understand that true beauty emanates from within and radiates outward. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the stage, Mr. Edward Tapia. Hello there.
Hey, hi, hi,
How
Consuela.
you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am, you know what? I had a rough day to start. These vocal cords was acting up, so I've been silent most of the day, but I'm here. Nothing was going to keep me from this interview today. I appreciate you. But first, I need to tell you, I am lucky, loving this sparkle red. This is,
Oh, thank
I had no idea what you were going to put on today. And I was like, I bet you he ain't going to have it in my size. But
you.
you are, you
Listen,
already know.
and it wasn't even planned because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be in this interview. I gotta wear something that can pop on screen, that looks good on camera, and I'm like, oh. And I honestly saw this shirt at the store, and I just bought it. I had to buy it, and then I had the matching hat at home. I'm like, okay, it's fashion. It looks good on camera, so why not?
It does. It looks amazing. Hello, Dr. Johnson. I see you. I see you. Roy has
Dr.
definitely
Johnson.
joined in. So, everyone that's here, first and foremost, no matter if you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, make sure you share this video because the conversation that we're having today may truly be the answers to someone else's prayer that may be a little too intimidated to share with you. Okay. So I want to jump right on in, King, because, and I have more of your bio that I'm going to share, but one of the biggest things that caught my attention was you were born with a cup full of no's. Like you came out the womb with roadblocks and stuff. And when I say this, for those that do not know, you were born already with a cleft palate, a cleft lip, and a heart murmur, right? And you are still here today, right? You are. So I'm going to tell some people what you have in your cup. First of all, you are a very devoted family man. You are a father of four. You are part of the granddaddy club. I love it because you know I'm a Nene. Wait a minute, you just had a new grandbaby though, right?
I did about 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Congratulations, right?
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
family is important to you. Um, and as far as the doctors was concerned, did they tell you that you was going to make it this far in life with everything that you were born with?
Not at all. I had no speech till I was 5. So When
Okay.
you're born with a cleft lip, most people look at the outside, which is I had everything on both sides, so it was just
Okay.
kind of open. This side was open to the left, to the right, and it was just a big hole, kind of like the Predator movie with Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger. That monster look. That's how my face looked. It was just open, and so most children that are born with a cleft lip, they have a fuzzy talk. So you're like, "Ah, ah, ah," that's how you talk. So you can't really understand, and some don't even speak at all ever. So I was 5 years old, and I still didn't have speech, and I just remember my mother sending me to Port Chester, New York, because I lived in Manhattan, and my uncle was a pastor in Port Chester, New York, and I was sent there for the
Okay.
summer to spend time with my cousins because my uncle had 7 children,
Okay.
and I spent the summer there, and I came back home like talking, but not fully talking, but I was actually saying words and phrases. I was
Okay.
saying things backwards, but when I left my house there, I wasn't talking at all.
Oh wow. Okay. So there
So
was an improvement.
there was when I was there, and I give the credit to God because my uncle was a pastor. He was and he still is to this day, and they were really church going people, Christians. So of course I had to go to church with them whenever they went to church. And so when I came back home, what a lot of my family members were noticing was that I was trying to talk, including his kids, but I was just, as I was trying to, I would say things backwards. Like if I wanted to go upstairs, I would say I want to go downstairs. But still, that's where the trend started of me talking. And
Okay.
then I got older and I started speaking better. I had to go to these roundtable at the Beth Israel Hospital in New York, and it was constantly. I would go in with my mom, and it was all these doctors sitting in a round table, and I had to talk, and I had to do my ABCs, and then again, year after year, it was just. I mean, to the point that I was 18 and I was still doing this, and I'm like, why am I still doing this? And then they were like, I remember the one time, by the time I was 18, they were like, oh, do you want to consider speech therapy? And I'm like, and I thought to myself, why do I need speech therapy? I mean, I've been coming here all these years. You have me
Right.
saying my ABCs. I'm 18. I'm still saying my ABCs. And you can hear me clearly talking. I'm speaking to you clearly. Uh, um, I'm in a regular school. I have good grades. At that point, I was just like over it, the whole
Okay.
ABC thing, and I'm like, okay, you guys need to understand and realize at this point, Edward Tapia is 18 years old. He's a miracle child that you cannot pinpoint as to why he can talk and why he's not fuzzy and why he's speaking the way he's speaking. So
Right.
making me say my ABCs all these years at the age of 18, I'm over it. I'm like done. And then,
Right.
but around that time, my dad had passed away too,
Okay.
right around that age when I hit 18. So a lot of the surgeries that were still needed from that point moving forward stopped because I no longer had insurance. And so, but at that point with the whole doctors and me, it was like, okay, guys, I'm over at this point. But I think they were still in disbelief still at that point, at that age.
Yeah, I was going through. So let me ask you this because this when I say this, I'm talking having a cleft palate and a cleft lip. It happens more often than we know, but it's something that's not talked about because we don't know, right? Until it's something that hit home. Like I knew about cleft palates and cleft lips because I had friends and things of that nature, but I never knew in deep dive until my niece was born almost 10 years ago. She was born with a cleft palate and a cleft lip. And I was like, what are we supposed to do now? How is this supposed to happen? Right. So going on the journey with my sisters in the house, trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to do? Right. What can we do to help to make this transition, a very viable life? Because being in anybody's hospital and doctor's office constantly is not the life for anybody. So I want to first of all tell you thank you for openly sharing your story because I have some pictures. I'm gonna share those with you in a minute. Hey, Auntie, I see you. Thank you for joining us
I,
today.
And
Um,
I want to touch base on what you just said about that, in regard to what you were saying about a lot of people not knowing the
right.
about stuff and having some information about it. It's tough, but it's really tough on the parents as much as it is on the child, because and you can relate to what I'm going to say with your niece. The appointments, the doctor visits are, because when you have the cleft lip, which is the outside, but then you have the cleft lip,
Mhm.
which is the inside, and then you've
Right.
got the a lot of children that are born with the cleft lip, their organs internally are destroyed. It could be a simple thing as your teeth. It could be as drastic as your heart. It could be as drastic as other organs within your body that you can't visibly see to the eye, because people only look at the outside. And I think that
Right.
that's what makes it so much more difficult when you have people like myself, or like your niece, or other children that are born with physical disabilities that are visible to the
Hmm.
eye, for people to use that as a motive of their laughter, of their jokes, and of their inspiration to mistreat those people, the
Yes.
hurt that comes with that and the pain that comes with that, because a lot of times those people have other things like myself that is part of that journey, that are things that are not visible to the eye, like having to go to the dentist and my teeth falling out and having to get teeth replacement. It's a process of things internally within your not only your heart, like when you mentioned the heart murmur,
Mhm.
but all of that ties in. So when you factor in all of that with how you're being treated by people, and how people use your circumstance to use you as their motive to laugh, as their motive to joke, or as
Right.
motive to um, point fingers at you, it
Right.
just puts a heavier load on the person that's going through it. And I think it also puts a heavier load on the parents as well, that are visually seeing it happen with family members who take part in that.
Right. Right. So let me ask you this. I know because you touched on being bullied and picked on. You also mentioned in your bio that you actually have thoughts of taking your life.
hmm
Was that because of what you were dealing with, or was that something completely separate, or a little bit of everything? Or
I was about 14, and
okay,
it was exactly that. It was that, but it was also, and I'm going to be transparent because this is a transparent conversation for anybody that wants to hear it.
right,
I'm a very feminine boy, and I'm still very
okay,
flamboyant today as a man. But that doesn't
okay,
take away from being whoever Tapia is. That
yes,
doesn't take away from being the man that I am, or being the child that I was. But I was uh, very feminine when I was young, and so I hung out more with the girls, and I hung out more with my cousins who were girls, as opposed to my
hmm,
male cousins. But part of that was because I was sheltered within this cleft lip, within this cleft palate thing, because I couldn't. My mom wouldn't let me play baseball. My brothers play baseball. I couldn't play baseball because she was afraid the ball was going to hit me. So I
yeah,
was not into sports like my father and my brothers were. I
hmm,
was more of a mama's boy, and I was always home. So besides the cleft lip and getting bullied for that and being made fun of for that, then I was called the gay boy and the funny boy and the feminine, and they called me all kinds of names, not just within school and friends, but also within family members that used verbal words that were hurtful to me as a child. And so by the time I was 14, I was just like, my mind was messed up. Like, I would
okay,
literally walk in the streets of New York talking to myself, because I would hear the statements that were said to me verbally resounding in my ears, in my
they were
mind.
right,
Like, it's almost like when someone says to you constantly, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. And it keeps, like, it stays in your subconscious mind, and you
start
keep
hearing
hearing
it,
it
yeah,
over and over in your mind, which I'm sure a lot
hmm,
of people that are listening can relate to those negative things that
absolutely,
come to your mind. And I found myself in a battle of, no, that's not what I am. Like, I would literally stop in the middle of the street and talk to myself like I was a crazy kid, and I would say, no, I'm not that. This is not me. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I realize now that I'm older that I was
Okay.
fighting something that was trying to destroy me internally. But one day it was midnight. I was looking out the window and
Okay.
I saw this. I can't explain it because there's some things that don't make sense to the human people or the human eye, but
Right.
this is the reality of
Right.
what I saw. I looked out the window and I saw like it was like a black shadow, and as if I was looking at a black shadow of a 12 story apartment, because apartments in New York are really really open. It was 12
Right.
floors, and I was in my friend's house, and this thing was just calling me out the window, but the window had a gate, um, and so it's almost like I went into like a trance.
Yeah.
And then I told my uncle who was there with us that I was gonna go to my mom's house because my mother was right across. New York, when you went back in the day, you could walk by yourself at midnight. Nobody would have hurt
Right.
you.
Right. Exactly.
So, um, and he said, okay, but that's not true. That's not where I was headed. I was headed to the Williamsburg Bridge, which is in Delancey Street in New York, in Manhattan. It's in the heart of
Okay.
Manhattan. There's the Williamsburg Bridge, and there's the Brooklyn Bridge. This was the Williamsburg Bridge, where everyone was known to be the suicide spot.
Oh wow.
And so I was just walking and walking, and it was almost like nobody was else there. It was just me. I was like in zombie mode, just straight through, walking toward this bridge, the Williamsburg Bridge in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And as I was walking, all I remember is that all of a sudden it's almost like when you watch on TV that the doctors are doing and they snap when they put you in a trance and then they hit and you like
And you snap out of it, right?
snap out of it. So when I realized what I was doing, I'm like, oh crap, like, and then I got scared and I mean, it was late at night. I was the only one in the street walking. Um, and
Jesus.
so when I got back, I didn't say anything. I didn't tell anyone anything. But my uncle, who was a pastor, he said the next day, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "When you left yesterday, I don't know what it was, but I just started praying over you." He said, "I don't know where you're going, but it was a really like a battlefield that I was praying over you." And
Hmm.
I think, you know, whether you believe in God or not, because everybody's entitled to what they believe in, whether you
Right.
believe in a higher power or you don't even believe in a higher power. One thing that I will say for me personally, and I tell people this all the time, I don't have a choice whether or not to believe in a God, because I have seen the hand of God so powerful in my life where
Hmm.
when someone tells me they don't believe in God, I respect that. But can nobody make me not believe in the God that gave me the mouth to speak? Can nobody
Baby.
leave me to not believe in the God that allowed me to be alive? Can nobody make me not believe in the God that saved my life that day? And so everything that I do, I give glory to God for what He has given me to this point and saved me from that moment that I was in. And someone said the power of prayer. That is
Absolutely the power of prayer, and that's what happens when we have a praying grandmother, a praying uncle in your case, right? He had that discernment. He didn't know exactly what was going on, but our God told him what was going on, and all he needed to do was fall on his face and pray for you, and it worked. So I thank him for following his assignment so I could be able to sit here and talk to you today.
yeah.
So you dumped out some stuff in your cup. So let me tell y'all this, right? Let me tell y'all this. So I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna show y'all where this man started from. This was your start. This was your start. And you are smiling today. And I remember the first time I met you, I had no idea what your story was. I knew nothing of this, right? When I first physically met you, I met you with a smile and I felt your presence first. And Every time I seen you from it, you always had a smile on your face, regardless of what was going on. You were smiling. And I know you look at this picture quite often. I know you tell your story often. What does it feel? How do you feel coming back looking at, I'm going to call it your humble beginnings, right? Your full cup of no. This was a full cup of no, you will not. And you done blossomed and took that whole cup and was like, let me show you what my God can do. Looking at this picture now, how does that feel?
Um, it brings up a lot of emotions. With all transparency, it
Mhm.
feels great. Um, and at the same time, it reminds me of where I once was and where I am today. Like who I was back then, and the what if I would have proceeded to get to that point where I wasn't allowed to empty
Right.
out my cup from the bitterness, from all of the hurt, from all of the pain, from all those things that a lot of times stop us from being successful and overcoming life circumstances, and understanding that whatever we go through in life does not define who we are, where we're headed, and it's not the definition of our life story. And when we don't fall into self-pity, because a lot of
Oh,
times
that's
go into these circumstances that we're in, we fall into this self-pity and this why me, right? And for a lot of
mhm.
times, a lot of years, I was in this why me,
Yeah,
why me? And I would pray. I would say, God, why did you make me so ugly? Like, why did I have to be the one to have to go through all these surgeries? Why did it have to be me? Like, why couldn't it be one of my brothers? Like, it's normal because I went through that. Why me? I stood
yeah.
in the mirror so many times as a child, as a kid, as I got older. I covered my lip with my hand like this. True story. I would do this because I wanted to imagine what I would look like without a cleft lip. I wanted to feel what it looked like, what I thought was to be beautiful as a man, as a child.
Hmm.
Walking in the streets, I if I saw boys walking in the streets, I put my head down so they wouldn't see my face. Um, and so one day I realized you have a cleft lip. You can't change that. You have a cleft palate. You can't change that.
Hmm.
That's part of your history. That's part of your life. That's how you were born.
The foundation,
What
yeah.
you can change is who you want to be as a person tomorrow, who you want to be as a person in the future. What do you want to be of impact to other people? And how do you want to help people come out of the situations that they are in through you?
And baby, let me tell you, you turned that cup around. We're gonna talk about your early years, baby. Look, you look, and then you smile and look at it. I love it. These are some of your early years, right? So while I have this up, I'm about to put this stuff back in your cup, right? You are an established singer. You are an actor. You are an international model, right? You've done New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week, WC Fashion Week, Durham Fashion Week, New Orleans. You've done all these fashion weeks, right? You have also been on a finalist on the Fashion Hero reality TV series hosted by
Yes.
Brooke Hogan. Sorry.
Yes.
You are a brand ambassador for London, UK's Wow pageants, as well as S&M custom design by international designer Santia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you currently hold the title, let me get it right, of Mr. Man of Distinction Duke 2023. I think I have one of them pictures, right? You replenished your cup with everything that everybody said you couldn't do, and you doing it. So you are showing people that no matter what the doctor said, right? No matter what the doctor's report is, God's report is what matters.
Yes.
And you went back to school. You in school for higher education,
Yes.
like for real. And what you studying is not easy on the mind or the heart, for that matter. But your heart is pumping strong.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere no time soon.
And I can you go? I want you to go back to that collage because I want to say something about that collage with the photo in the middle.
The photo in the middle. Okay,
The other one
hold
before
on.
that one.
That one.
So the reason why I want to touch base on this one is because that photo in the middle there with the white and red,
Mm-hmm.
and the one where it shows I'm wearing a white shirt and I'm on the runway.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time over 15 years ago that I set foot on a runway. And I remember, um, like yesterday, when I was backstage waiting to be on the runway after being on 6 months of modeling training on how to walk the runway for a men's fashion show. Um, Within a manner of minutes, my whole life just went back. And the reason
Mm.
why it went back is because in that photo, I was 35 years old. I was not
Jesus.
20. I was not 18. I was 35. So, and then the picture in the middle, that was shortly after that fashion show. When I did the fashion show, I saw a commercial on TV,
Okay.
and it was a Spanish show, and it said, "You want to sing? You want to act?" I'm like, "I want to do," and my heart started pounding, and I'm like, "I want to do that." And then I was like, "Yeah, no, I can't do that because they're looking for young guys, and I'm 35." And then you have a cleft lip everywhere. Who ain't nobody gonna want you, with your cleft lip, and you 35, and you're not good enough for that. So I saw the commercial on Spanish television called Telemundo, and it was like every day they were saying you want them. So finally,
Okay.
on Friday, I picked up the phone and I called the 800 number that they were showing on TV. And the lady that picked up, she said, "Well, the casting ends tomorrow," and she said, "If you want to be here and you want to come, I better see a model here in front of me tomorrow." And then I said to her, in the spur of the moment, it was in the spur of I said, "Well, you're gonna see a model tomorrow. When I show up tomorrow, you make no mistake, you're gonna see a model right in front of you."
Okay.
So, so then what do I do? I call my friend and I tell her, she used to cut my hair. She owned the salon. I said, "Mimi, I'm going to this casting tomorrow, and so I got some really nice jeans, some nice shoes, and then I said I need you to do something with my hair." So she transformed my hair, and my hair is naturally curly, curly, curly. She just
Right.
put me
Okay.
in the dryer and put me into like a straight Justin Bieber look, like what you see in the middle picture, with the hair straight.
Wow.
So I show up to this casting, and the lady gave me a Deborah Desiderio is what her name is. She gave me a script, and I had to learn a commercial. So I had a
Okay.
chapstick in my pocket. I'm like, okay, let me use this chapstick.
Okay.
And so my commercial was about vitamins. I learned it in 30 minutes. I had to learn it and be able to speak it out and act it out without the paper, but I had my chapstick as my vitamin.
Okay.
Did my commercial, then they put me on the runway walk. I did that, and then they had me sit down while they were doing the other casting with all the other people, and then they bring me into this meeting and they go, "Have you ever done commercials before?" And I go, "No." And she goes, "Have you ever done modeling before?" I go, "No, I've never worked around. This is my first time working on a runway." And she said, "We don't know what it is, but there's something about you that we like." And
Come
so
on now.
she said, "With that being said, we will see you here next Sunday. We want to have you." And I did not know that Deborah Desiderio was the owner of Barbizon School of Modeling of Wilkes-Barre, PA. Nor did I know that she was the owner of D&D Model and Management Talent Agency as well. So she took me under her wing. I was six months in modeling runway shows in Philly. Then I would do some runway shows at her school at Barbizon. Excuse me.
Okay.
That's also where I did my acting classes at her school, at the Barbizon School
Okay.
in Wilkes-Barre. And then she said, "You know what, Edward? We know your natural hair color is curly because I went the following week with my hair curly."
Okay.
She said, "But given your age, because I was 35, remember I was 35,
Right.
and everybody
Right.
else was 18 and 20." She said, "We want you to come every time you have not a casting, but a runway show class. We need you to come with your hair straight. You
Okay.
need to wear a fitted shirt. You need to wear fitted clothing because we don't want to see your body, but we do want to see your body through your clothes and see how." So Edward Tapia was used to wearing the big clothes because remember, I'm
Right.
still at that point, I'm 35, but I still have not. And the reason why this is important is because people don't realize it doesn't matter what age you are, you're still evolving. You are still pouring into your cup and you're still pouring out of your cup. There's still things
Yeah.
that are gonna be that are in your cup that you have to let go and you have to let it overflow outwards so that
Always.
whatever needs to come in can come in and really burst inside of you and birth something new in your life.
Right.
So at that age, I'm like, what? So don't you know I went home. At the time I was married, my wife is looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm just taking a whole. I took a big box and I just started dumping all my clothes in there. I started dumping
Okay.
all my clothes in there, and she's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "My modeling coach said I have to get rid of these. I have to get rid of the big clothes. I have to dress fit it." And so when I started doing that, every week I had to go to the salon and literally straighten my hair because my hair was curly, was not straight. And of course, I'm a man. I don't know about straightening my hair. And I don't let alone how to use a flat iron blow dryer. So,
Right.
because at the time my kids were still babies, and I'm like, I don't know how to use a blow dryer. So, with that being said, I had to invest in someone and something that believed in me when I did not believe in myself.
Right.
She said, "We see you and you are a model, you are amazing, you're a singer, but you need to do this." Now she didn't say, um, you need to do this for me. You need to do this because you want to be a model, and this is what being a model is about.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look the part. And so by looking the part, that is where it starts to build confidence and it builds you because you allowed yourself to be coached. Because a lot
Yes.
of people don't see it as a coaching thing. They're like, "Oh no, Consuelo's telling me that I gotta wear a large instead of a." People don't realize that that's a way of being coached, in my opinion, into building
Mm-hmm.
and bringing forth a better version of yourself, of who you are meant to be. When you allow yourself to be coached, when you allow somebody else to pour into your cup, right, and
Right.
say, "You have this inside of you. You need to let it out."
So we gonna show this because what y'all see right now of Mr. Edward Tapia, this is cute, it's fashionable, I love it. However, he gets it in, y'all. I'm just saying, he gets it in, y'all. And if you don't believe me, when we are done, I need you. I don't care which social media platform, but you definitely want to go check out Instagram and TikTok and put in one of these hashtags. He gets it in, y'all. You could not ever tell me that you had any issues before this, right? Knowing your story now, there was no way I would have believed you looking at this because these are amazing. You took what your coach, what you were told, and you accepted it. You became coachable, right? You took it all in, you made the adjustments, and now you are an international icon. You are an international public figure across the board. How does that feel?
It feels amazing, and it keeps me humble. It keeps me humble because I tell
Look
people.
at your comments. I'm sorry.
It keeps me humble because I you would never have ever caught me changing and wearing anything shirtless. Like I change in the boys' locker room in the bathroom with the stall closed. While all
Wow.
the other boys were changing in the locker, I was in the locker bathroom with the door
By
locked, and that's
yourself.
where I changed my shirt. That's where I changed my pants. The guys in the gym, all my brothers growing up, because I had two brothers and I have two brothers, they never saw me shirtless growing up because I changed in the room when I was by myself, or I changed in the bathroom while I was alone, even at home. So to get to that point where I felt comfortable with my own skin, I mean, even that picture that with the red, I was already 40 in that picture.
Shut up. This
That
one?
that picture with my head long like that with the red, yeah, I'm already 40 years old there. In fact, I'm gonna be 50 this year in on the
Come
in
on now.
September.
And when?
So I'm gonna be 50 September of this year. I'll be turning the big 50.
Yeah.
So and I want to say that because people um
They doing the math for you. They doing the math. Okay.
I am 49 years old, everybody, and I'm gonna be 50 in September. September 27th, I'm gonna be 50 years old. And I use that also as a tool because we get wrapped up as human beings, as people, about age. Age is just a number. I'm
Right.
looking at my criminal justice degree right now. I'm
Come
expected
on with it.
I'm expected to graduate in November this year with my bachelor's, and I'm going right into my master's degree right after that. After I graduate, right after that.
Yes.
So age is just a number. Um, Going through this journey of modeling, because people look at the outside and they get wrapped up in the superficial things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They think, oh, she's modeling, oh, he's modeling. But when you engage yourself, like I did with Barbers School of Modeling, it was more than that. The handbook was this thick. There was
Jesus.
everything from hygiene, everything about hair, your skin, taking care of your body, taking care of you.
Right.
It
Right.
was in the
Right.
handbook, which I was shocked because I'm like, which is why I said that Deborah coached me into bringing out the best in me the way she did it through the modeling. And
Right.
so we have to be open minded to sometimes to things that we don't think are going to be of our benefit. And we don't realize how that one thing is going to pour life and greatness and goodness into your life. Think about pageantry.
Right.
Pageantry to a lot of people is like, no, 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 that's a taboo. Pageantry has given me so many opportunities. When I started my pageantry in 2016, you would have never told Edward Tapia that he would be in in pageants. I had just come back from filming in Canada for the Fashion
Okay.
World TV show. I was in Orlando International Fashion Week that same year, and I went to an event where I was invited to sing. I was a guest singer, and I was asked to speak to women that go through domestic violence to give them some
Okay.
advice, even though I was not a domestic violence type of a male, or I was a male and I was going to speak to the women, but they wanted to use
Okay.
my story in a way to
Oh yeah.
relate, but they're going to bring some kind of inspiration to these women.
Right.
So as I gave my speech and I was showing my photos and I did some singing, there's these women coming in with these big old crowns, and I'm like, I'm talking, but I'm like, yeah, so and I'm just looking at the crowns coming through, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, it was amazing. The crowns were sparkling. They had their sashes on, but I didn't think anything of it. I kept talking, and so after everything was over, the director of this pageant, which I had no idea that it was a pageant,
Mm-hmm.
It was Prestige, the Prestige Florida Prestige pageant system
Okay.
back then. So the owner says, "Have you ever done pageants before?" And I'm like, "Who, me? No, man." I literally said, "Me pageant? No, you know." I said, "I am not." I said, "Do you see me? I'm not the man for no pageantry." I said, "I'm already past my 40s. I don't have the body for it. I don't have the face for it. That is not for me." And she said, her name is Percy Luki. She said, "No, I see something in you." There she goes again with the whole "I see something in you." And I'm like,
Right.
and she goes, "I think you would be a great pageant king." Fast forward to 2024. Here I am. Here I am.
Right. Here you are.
Here I am.
So I'm gonna need each one of y'all to go find his page because for y'all, because this picture is not the current crown. I need y'all to go to his page so you can see his current
That
crown.
picture right there, that was when I was Mr. Canada 2020. And the
Uh
reason
huh.
why I wanted to be Mr. Canada was because the way I was treated when I went to Canada, when I lived in Canada, and the way people perceived me and picked me up there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I stayed with people that were from all over all different countries, but the biggest thing that impacted me the most was the love that I got from Middle Eastern cultures in
Okay.
because their religion is not like my religion. Their
Oh.
God may not be their God, my God, but they
Okay.
believe in God. But there was no um like I'm Pentecostal and you're Muslim or you're, Pakistani or whatever the religion was. These
Uh
people
huh.
treated me like I was royalty. And they, from the way they fed me to the way they dressed me on the runway to the way they, you know, every time I go back to Canada for a fashion show,
Okay.
I'm dressed in clothing with from the Middle East or from the Indian couture. These are people that have nothing to do with being Hispanic, Puerto Rican, white American. This is a complete culture that's nothing to do with my own. And
Right.
what I learned with that is that love and culture, doesn't matter where you come from, they can also pour life into your cup when you allow them to pour the greatness that they have inside of them, despite having differences. The religion
Right.
was different. Not one time did they try to sell their religion onto me. Not one time did they try to preach to me about what they thought God was or whoever God. They allowed me to be me. Do you understand that?
That's
They allowed me
beautiful.
to be me.
Right.
What do we run into a lot with family members and friends? Oh,
They try to
Consuela,
change you.
girl. Oh, you gotta go to church with me over here. Oh, you can't be going to that church over there because that church ain't
Yep.
for godly. Oh, you can't be wearing. There's so much
Yeah.
of you can't do this and you can't do that and you need to do things this way. And I got to experience an entire different culture, a different faith, a different religion who respected me, and they still do every single time I go to Canada. And so that's why when I went to compete in the pageant, I said, you know what? I want to be Mr. Canada. That was my way to say thank you to the Canadian people for the love and the support and for being a part of my growth to become Edward Tapia, the international model that I am today. And I want to thank the Black community. And the reason why I want to thank the Black community is because despite being Hispanic Puerto Rican, despite coming from a family that sings, having a dad that plays instruments, may he rest in peace, he passed away when I was 17, having an
Mm-hmm.
uncle and aunts and people that sing and play music, the person that taught me how to sing, the person that gave me the courage to sing was a Black woman when I was 15 years old, right after that suicide episode I had. It was a Black
Uh-huh.
woman in school who was 18 years old in high school who brought out the best in me in my voice. And anytime after that, because you have to give greatness and you have to give honor where the honor is due. Whenever you
Absolutely.
make it somewhere
Absolutely.
and you grow somewhere and you're cup starts overflowing, it wasn't only you, it was God, but it was also people that poured into your cup and it's helping you overflow. And so I want
Absolutely.
to give thanks to all those people, to Nancy Jones, who was my director at the age of 18. And she said one day we were practicing the song in choir practice, and she noticed that I was lip syncing because I would show up to the rehearsals, right? And black folk, they'd be like,
Okay.
and we do the dancing thing.
Right.
So I would do all the movements and I would move my lips, but I wasn't singing.
But you wouldn't have.
I wasn't singing.
Okay.
So somebody told her that I was doing that, and she goes, "All right, class. All right, choir. Eddie has been lip syncing, and I need him to sing, and I need to hear his voice." So, and I'm like, I can't hit that note, Nancy. That's too high. Cause I was intimidated. Cause these black kids at school in New York,
They
they can
snitched on you.
sing. They can sing. and I
Right.
was and I was intimidated. I'm like, oh my god, I can't sing like that. And just the fact that she believed enough in me to say you can do it, and she put me in the spot, and all, of course, everybody, the entire choir is all eyes on me.
Right. Right. They
And
watching
so
you now.
at that point, that's when that piece of me broke, because I then started to let my voice be heard.
Yes. Yes. I
And so
love it.
sometimes letting our voices be heard, it does take for someone to put you in an uncomfortable spot, in an uncomfortable moment,
Yeah.
or ask you an uncomfortable question, or get into that deep conversation that's going to force you to spill the tea, whether it be good or bad. But when you spill the tea out of your cup and you let that overflow, you're cleansed.
Yeah.
Like, you're
Yeah.
cleansed. You would think that I tell people, you know what, when I go to bed at night, when I go to sleep at night, I want to go to bed with a heart that's clean, with a soul
Yeah.
that's clean. I don't want to go to bed bitter. I don't want to go to bed sleep mad at nobody. I want to go to bed and be in peace when I go to sleep at night.
Right.
And when you get to
So,
that place in your life that you let
right.
all that out of your cup and you let the goodness come in, it really does drive your life in a different path and a different perspective.
Yeah. So before I let you go, I have one question for you, but I want you to see these two comments, right? If stepping out on faith was a person, it would be Edward Tapia. Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone,
Amen.
right?
I agree.
Um, Edward, can you be my mentor?
Oh, I'd
Right?
love to.
This is someone that follows you on TikTok, right? He always lifts me up and make me smile. So my question for you before I let you go, and I know it could be a little tough for some people. I normally ask my guests, what does it mean to be beautifully flawed, especially in this cancel culture that we're in. However, I want you to take the next few seconds and talk to the men out there, right? Because we're also in a society where the men are still trying to pull back the layers, letting them know that it's okay to be a little vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable, right? It's okay to share your story because men need to hear it. So I want to first thank you for sharing your story, right? But I know sometimes the men need to hear from the men and not the women that it's okay to cry. It's okay to let your guard down. I need you to talk to the men about being transparent and sharing their story and what it's like to heal.
That, and that's very important. That's one of the big things that I try to um, bring forth, because we're taught a lot of times that men don't cry, men don't shed tears. We're the machos of the house, and we have to be strong in every moment. Which,
Hmm.
yes, you want to be strong and you want to be strong-willed, and willpowered. However, being vulnerable and being able to connect with those emotions, it's also important, especially when you think about having a relationship with another person. Because as a male, when you bring forth into your life whoever that partner is. If you bring a woman into your life, women come forth with a lot of emotions, with a lot of women always are known to let the crying out, to let the worry
Mhm.
out. They're strong, but when it comes to letting out their emotions, they tend to let those emotions shine more than a man does. And I think the importance of letting those emotions come out, it helps you to connect better with your partner in relationships. It helps you to open up and be more vulnerable when it comes to whether it's work, when it comes to
Mhm.
relationship, when it comes to presenting yourself in public. Because think about it, someone that's always and
Right.
doesn't show any emotions, when you go through trials, when you go through tribulations, when you go through stumble blocks, you're stuck a lot of times because you're not allowing yourself to feel any other emotions other than being mad at the world all the time, living in a
Right.
bitter moment and not really letting out those emotions that can humanize you and keep you in
Correct.
that mode. So I encourage the men to speak out, even if you want to speak with a friend, speak out with someone, a therapist. Like I did it, I've done it before. When speaking out to getting therapy is not a bad thing.
Not at
It's private, and that allows you to be at the most vulnerable state of mind in that moment to let it all out and learn and grow from that. How you heal from that is not holding it in. I tell people all the time, when I feel a certain type of way because I have my moments,
all.
I cry about it and I let it out. And I feel when I cry about it, even if it's just me and nobody sees me, I'm cleansed and I let it out.
You let it out.
And I let it out. When I feel something is bothering me, I can't talk about it in the moment because I'm mad at whatever the subject is. I wait until I
Hmm.
go off and then I let it out. When
Okay.
you hold, when you, it's like having a fly fall inside your tea, and you drink the tea with the fly in it, and you drink the tea with a particle in it. Now that the tea or the coffee you were trying to drink in your cup, it was contaminated.
Right.
But when you pour that out and you pour something new and something fresh, you don't got any worries because now you're not worried about particles being inside your tea or coffee.
Right.
You can drink it with confidence. You can enjoy the moment with your tea. It's the same concept of life. When you begin to heal and you begin to learn how to be a man, but be a human
Mhm.
man, be open
Yes.
to different aspects of life, because your spouse and whoever your partner is going to gravitate to that. Living in bitter and living in a world wrapped up in anger, it doesn't help your relationship get any better, and it will not help you grow to who you're meant to be. And I remember one time that I said on in another interview, if it ain't Versace, if it ain't Gucci, and if it ain't Calvin Klein declining you, let it go. And
Yes, you did.
I did say, and the reason why I said that is because I was in a fashion show, and I was pulled out of the fashion show. This was years ago in Florida, because at the time I didn't have the body that they were looking for. I wasn't ripped and all this other stuff, and I came home because one of the designers of that show picked me. He
Hmm.
picked me to be in the show. But the
Okay.
producers that were doing the casting after he picked me, and they knew that he picked me, they didn't want me to walk in this show, not even for him. So I came home and I found myself. It just took me back.
Okay.
It's because sometimes things will take you back.
Yes, it does.
It's
Yes, it
how you
does.
bounce. It's how you bounce back from that.
From it.
So I
Hmm.
came at home, and I saw myself. I was in tears when I got home. I mean, I was in tears in the car. I was in tears at home, and I stood in front of the mirror as I was crying because something that's. I said, Edward Tapia, I'm gonna need you to stop.
Right.
and,
Right.
and
Get
I,
it together.
you better get it together. And that's when I said to myself, if it ain't Gucci, if it ain't Versace, and if it ain't Calvin Klein rejecting you, you need to let it go. And I said that to myself. And so where I'm sharing that story is, you men that are out there, self-talk is powerful. Women that are listening to me, self-talk is a powerful tool to break the chains, to break the yoke, to break all these curses that are in your life. When you stand in front of the mirror and you speak to that image that you're looking at, and you start speaking positivity and you start speaking life into you, trust me, it works. You will
Yes.
begin to heal, and whatever's remaining in your cup that you haven't spilled out and you haven't taken and just kind of, you got to go,
Right.
it's going to start going out, and you're going to start seeing the new coming in. And the new
Yeah.
coming in when you allow yourself to enter that healing moment that you so deserve. Because we all deserve to heal. We all deserve to be at a better place in our lives. And if I wasn't here telling you the story, I wouldn't believe it myself. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be 50. And people are like, you're gonna be 50. I'm like, yeah. They're like, you have
Right.
grandkids? Yeah. So just
Right.
that action alone, it makes me feel so amazed, because I can be of inspiration to those on TikTok like Tracy. That thank you, Tracy. I love you to pieces. Many blessings to you and everyone here, Roy, everyone that's here, Auntie, that are watching us. I just pray that this conversation, this candid conversation, more than anything, pours greatness into your lives, into your cup, and that you learn how to let that cup overflow with the bad and come out and let it overflow with the good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Edward, I want to say thank you very much for spending your time and your evening with me, pouring not just into everyone else's cup, but pouring into my cup. I'd love it because I'm still trying to figure out how I can get some of your outfits. But I know for a fact, when I get ready for one of my next photo shoots, you know you're gonna have to be here, right? Because we're gonna have to get you on this wardrobe, right? But I want to say thank you very, 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 very much. I love you for life, and there is nothing you can do about it. Everyone, thank you very much for joining in, for chiming in. Remember to share this video. You never know whose prayer this will answer. Until next time, remember what's in your cup. If you don't know, take a hard look at the mirror and have that good, refreshing cry. Until next time, everybody, have a
Bye,
good night.
everybody. Love you all. Oh, like I always say, smooches!
Smooches!